Hey guys, RyanfaeScotland here, and I'm taking a little break from my usual tutorials to tell you about an exciting new development I'm going to be working on. I'm going to be working on my own zombie top-down shooter. Woohoo! This is going to be awesome. Now you might be thinking, wait a minute, another indie, no-budget zombie top-down shooter? I don't think that's what the internet really needs. And you know what? You're probably right. There's already millions of these top-down shooters out there. But this is something I've always wanted to work on, so it's something I'm going to go ahead with anyway. And hopefully I'll get out a pretty decent game, which will be good fun for everyone. You know, I've never liked that term indie game or indie development. Always makes me think of indie music, the grunge scene and greasy hair. You can keep track of the development on this YouTube channel, and hopefully I'll have some demos out soon, because I have already been working on this, and towards the end of this clip I will show some footage of my game. So look forward to that. So I'm just going to take a minute here to go through some of the top-down shooting games that I like, so that you can maybe get a flavour for what it is I'm striving towards, what it is I'm going to try and produce. There's no doubt that you'll see some influence from these games in my game. So first on my list of games is Endless Zombie Rampage. Now this is actually in its third generation now, but I've got a little bit of footage here from the first one. One of the striking things about this game is the way that the blood and gore will stay on the playing field throughout the entire game. It's only when you load it back in that it actually clears up. And this is a really nice technique, but it's actually really hard to implement because the more detail you have, the more sort of blood and splatters and that you have on the screen, the more memory, the more processor time that takes up, and it can actually slow your game down. But the developers here have done a great job of it, and it just doesn't affect the gameplay in any negative way. It makes it hard to see the zombies as the battlefield gets covered in gore, but that adds to it. It's a really nice technique. So yeah, I really enjoy this game. But I do feel it can get a little bit repetitive. After a while, it just seems to be you're doing the same thing over and over again. And this is something they addressed a little bit in the later games. I recently played the second one through, and it was a bit more mixed up. There was a bit more bosses and that sort of thing. It changed it up a little bit. Also added in rescuing people, gathering supplies. But still, I felt that after a few levels, it was a bit grindy. It was the same thing over and over. So that's one of the things I'm going to try to avoid in my game. Shattered Colonies, the next game that I'm going to have a quick look at. And this is a really good game. It adds some new things that you don't normally see in your zombie games. This one's top down, but it's not a top down shooter. It's more a sort of RTS game. Sort of World Warcrafty style. I almost called it World of Warcraft there. I'm so used to saying that rather than just Warcraft. And it's really good fun. It adds a lot more elements to the sort of zombie genre that other games just avoid. Here it's a lot more about thinking and planning rather than just the constant stream of zombies that you have to kill. So you really need to think a bit more when you're playing this game, because you need to make sure you have enough resources and stuff. You can destroy things, you can take down your buildings, build them up again, upgrades, things like that. One of the places it's lacking is it's not a huge game. There's not a great amount you can build. I think it's really just these four things that make up your entire game. You can upgrade them, which is nice, but really it could do with a lot more. And who knows, this is just the first version of it, so maybe the sequels will have more to them. Similar to this game, but on a smaller scale, is Luncheon of the Dead, which is an amazingly simple game, but is great fun. It's really simple. All you do is you have three places where you can gather resources, and a wave of zombies after wave of zombies coming to attack you. What makes this game so fun is its simplicity. It's just gathering resources and shooting zombies. Straight up easy fun. The problem it has is, like some of the others, once you work out a good tactic, then it becomes pretty repetitive and pretty straightforward to play. I know it might seem like I'm complimenting it for being really simple and then complaining about it for the same reason, but hey, that's how it is. Finally, I just wanted to give honourable mention to the game Zombies, which you may not have heard of. I'm quite surprised no one's actually taken that name already. You would have thought it would be the go-to name for a zombie game.
But no, apparently not. This game is a lot like several others. You'll probably recognize the sort of the gameplay aspects from the games like SAS, which is a much more popular one, a much more heard of one. But I really like this one. It's really got that sort of homemade vibe to it, which gives it, a couple extra points in my book. I think if it was to actually go on and become commercial, it would obviously need a bit of polish to just make it more presentable for the actual market. But it's got some good things to it. It's got some bad things as well. But one of the really interesting ideas is the ability to place turrets which are based off of the currently equipped weapon. So if you have a sort of sniper rifle, you can place a sniper turret. If you have a machine gun, then you can place a machine gun turret. And that really works. That works really well. It does make the game a little easy in places, but it's still good fun. And I actually heard about this game while I was doing a little bit of research for my game. I read an interesting article on the Game Maker blog. I'll throw a link in for this, which you might want to read as well. It's the first one that spoke about. And that's an interesting article. It's worth reading. It's basically going over some of the cliches and that in zombie games and some of the things that you might want to avoid. Here's a little clip of SAS Zombie Assault, which is what I imagine a polished version of zombies would be like. So, where does this leave us? We want a top-down shoot 'em up with some strategy and RTS elements. We're also looking for resource gathering and some simple gameplay so that it's easy to pick up, but complicated enough that it doesn't get boring really quickly. And we're also looking for some polished graphics, however, that's more of a sort of towards the end sort of thing. For now, I'd be happy with just really basic, easy-looking graphics. Of course, it's not only zombie games that have given me inspiration for my own game, there's also lots of others, so let's have a quick look at some of them. Ah yes, good old Grand Theft Auto 1. Man, I loved this game when it first came out. It was amazing. The world was just huge. There was so much you could do in it, and there was an unlimited amount of people to kill as well. What more could you want? Something I didn't notice before is check how shaky the camera is. It's all over the place. It's zooming in, it's zooming out. It really depends on like the speed you're going and what way you're going, where exactly you can see. It's really bizarre. I never noticed that before. It's actually quite annoying now. But I imagine you get used to it when you're playing the game. I certainly never noticed it before. So this is one of the things I'd like to have in my game. This huge expansive world for exploration and fun. And I think it could work very well in a zombie game, if done properly. I mean, can you imagine Grand Theft Auto with zombies being chased throughout the streets all the time, having to find places to hide for shelter, conserving your ammo? And I know there's some cheats you can put on that do put on pedestrian right and that sort of thing in the later game. But I think if you used to make that the main focus of the game was surviving in this massive expansive world, then that could make for a really interesting game. And the idea of a game with a huge world, it's sort of brings me on to my next game, which is Minecraft. Now, Minecraft's influence is going to be felt in lots of games to come, I think. It's just taken the world by storm. It's really good, so addictive. What I really like is obviously the crafting aspect of things, which I guess isn't really anything new. I mean, you've always been sort of gathering resources and building stuff out of them in games from way back when, but the difference here is the huge amount of resources that you can collect. I'm saying resources, but if you replace that with items, which, let's face it, are essentially the same thing, then the amount of things that can be built is just ridiculous. And that's something that I think could work very well in a zombie game. If we look at the sort of Dead Rising and things like that, where there's a huge amount of items that can be used, it's really good fun. They improved on that with Dead Rising 2, where you could then combine items to make different things. And I think if you were to take the sort of crafting aspects of Minecraft, throw it into a zombie game, then you could have a lot of fun with that. So that's something else I'm looking to put in. And that takes me to my penultimate game of this video, which is Diablo. Now, if you're going to have all these items, you're going to need some way to carry them. and I've always enjoyed Diablo's inventory system. The way it has different items being different sizes made for an interesting aspect to the game, because it meant you could only carry certain things and you would have to throw things away in order to carry other stuff, or go back up and sell them, which is what I normally done anyway, make some extra cash. The other way to sort of do your inventory is, of course, the Minecraft style, where you can just put things in and they'll stack on top of each other, which still limits your amount of space, but it means you have a lot more that you can work with. Another way I've saw it done is by using weights, so that each item carries with it a weight, and as your character becomes stronger throughout the game, you're gaining experience in that, the amount of weight that he can carry increases, which means that his inventory increases, which works quite well as well. I do like that. So I'll maybe see about using some sort of combination of them. I'm not entirely sure yet. It's something I'll really need to plan out. I think the Diablo style is probably going to be the style that I go for, but I don't want to be too restrictive in the amount of stuff that our character can carry, our hero can carry. I'll say character. Who knows if he's going to be a hero? He might be a villain. Haven't really got the storyline worked out yet. So yeah, we don't want to restrict our character too much, but at the same time, we don't want to just give him this limitless inventory where he can carry everything in game. The other good thing from the Diablo game and many other games is the armor aspect, where you can equip different things in different positions and maybe have sort of rings and amulets that give you special abilities or special powers. Something I still haven't decided is whether there should be any of this sort of tomfoolery going on in the game, because I quite like the idea of realism in games. So one of the things I'm really going to try and avoid is artificial boundaries, whereby in order to get into a certain area you need to pay, say, $200, $300. That to me doesn't make sense unless there's a character there who is preventing you from going through, and you need to pay him the money. That makes more sense rather than just having a door that says £200 to open. Why? Who am I giving this money to? It makes no sense. The same with zombies that drop money. Okay, fair enough. They might have been walking about with big wads of cash when they got infected, but I really don't see every zombie dropping 20, 40 quid, something like that. So I really imagine that you'd find money, you'd collect money. Would you even use money? That's the thing. When it becomes the apocalypse time, is money going to have any real value? Who knows? These are some things I'm going to have to consider whilst developing the game. Okay, that's enough chat about other people's games and exposition. It is time for the big unveiling. Are you ready for this? Doo-doo-doo-doo. Here we are. This is my game so far. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube and you're seeing it in the little small screen, it's going to look a lot worse than it really is. Don't get me wrong, it's pretty bad. But on the small screen, all the pixels in that are all conjoined together, and it really makes a mess of it. So you're going to have to throw it up into full screen mode, hit that HD button, and that'll give you a real view of what it's like just now. It's also a little bit more jumpy than it is in real life because of the screen recorder and that, and differences between frame rates and stuff. So don't worry about that too much. It's all going to be nice and smooth when it's actually going. Okay, let's talk about the actual game and what I've got in so far. So you can already see that I've got the health bar in, it's working, and there's health bars for our zombies as well. We have weapons which have ranges. You can't hear the sound effects just now, this is down to a recording problem, but I'm just grabbed a couple off the net for handgun, shotgun. Just now I have the shotgun equipped, which has a shorter range than the handgun, but is more powerful. But a lot of these things, are going to change. It's more just looking that the functionality is in just now. The zombies are clearly tracking me, and the main character is tracking the mouse, so that's your sort of controls. You've got the WASD controls along with the arrow keys if you prefer. This stuff's going to be customizable later on in development. Here I'm showing a little bit of my source code. You can see that this isn't being written with a GameMaker or anything like that. This is being written in Java. I'm a Java programmer, which is part of the reason why the art's so terrible. I'm not an artist at all. I'm most definitely a programmer. However, I do have a friend, Nikki Kearney, and you can check out her website, www.nikkikearney.co.uk, and she is interested in doing some of the artwork, so you might see some improvement pretty soon. We'll see if that's the sort of thing she's definitely going to be interested in. What else is there to say? You can tell the background is a tiled background, so that's made using Tile Studio, and I'm also using the GTGE engine for a lot of the gameplay. I did start off learning a lot of this stuff myself. I'll go into a bit more about the engine and stuff in a future video. So you can see I haven't really got collision detection done yet. You can shoot the enemies, they hurt you when they overlap you, but there's nothing stopping you. There's no walls, there's no real walls, there's no zombies banging into each other. They all just merge into one. The pathfinding, there isn't really pathfinding as such, it's more just if you are to the right of them, they'll move right, if you're below them, they'll move down. So this works pretty well, but it does mean that the zombies will tend to line up and just march straight towards you in your gunfire. I could say that this is just zombie behavior and get away with it that way, but I don't think people are going to buy that. I'm going to need to look at some more proper pathfinding later on. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit of video now that's actually synced up with what I'm saying, because although I've got the video playing in the background, there's a few things I want to emphasize that maybe aren't quite clear. You can see the zombies moving quite slow and I'm moving quite fast. Speeds are totally up for negotiation, you know, I'm going to be looking into them whilst I develop. Same with the ranges for the weapons. I've currently got the handgun equipped. This is a shotgun, handgun, this is nothing. There's no melee attacks yet, there is just getting hurt. If I put back on the pistol just now, when I shoot at the zombie, I can shoot behind him without actually hitting him. You need to be in the red bounding box there for a collision to be, not a collision, but for a hit to be detected. And this I quite like. It means you don't need to be exactly on top of the zombie. The blue box, the blue circle there, sorry, is his range. So you don't need to be on top of him. You can be off to the side and stuff, which really makes sense because the aim's not going to be perfect. We'll add in some randomization and stuff later so that you don't always guarantee a hit. And there's going to be stats and stuff, so that'll all come into it. The top left is just showing a little bit of debugging information. You can see the zombie count's currently 1. And this is something I wanted to get across, that there'd be different modes in the game. So just now we're playing in what I call Dawn of the Dead rules. And what this means is, when you kill one zombie, 2 more appear. Now I think this is from the remake that they state this rule. It's not so much a rule, it's just an observation. But I quite liked that, and I thought it could make for some interesting gameplay. So if I kill this zombie, then you see 2 more appear at a random speed. I kill one more, 2 more appear, and it continues on like this. So this could make for an interesting survival aspect, where you just need to live for as long as you can, but in order to gain points, get score, you need to kill the zombies. So it gets harder as you go on. It's a pretty easy, it's not even a curve, is it? It would just be a pretty easier linear learning path. Okay, there we go. I have also put on infinite health just now, just for the ease of showing you this video. So what else do I want to show you whilst we've got this? I've told you there's no walls. Just now you just pass over the top of everything because everything's just a background. I'm going to add in some windows in that for people to break in, as you saw in some of the other games. These will be repairable, and it'll be the sort of thing that I'm hoping you can use resources for. So you collect wood, you can make wooden panels, you can panel up the windows, you collect scrap metal, you can panel it up with that instead, which reinforces it, that sort of thing. There'll also be doors and stuff, so you can open them, close them, lock them, all that sort of stuff. Lots of plans just now. There's no Fog of War yet. I don't think I'm going to put that in because I'm not a huge Fog of War fan. It does kind of make sense, but, you know, meh, we'll see. Something you've also noticed as well is that the level isn't that huge. It is only this house. This is a house, by the way. This is wooden paneling on the floor. This is tiles. This is another flat. It is not the massive world that I'm talking about. This is me learning to walk before I run. If I can get a level with just a house working first, that'd be great, and then I can look at expanding. Oh yeah, so I was saying that we are currently playing with Dawn of the Dead rules. The other rules that I was thinking of doing was just swarm rules, which I actually done by accident once when I was coding the game. So you'll see the difference here.
that when the game loads up and I kill off the first zombie, suddenly there's just masses of them coming into attack. I'll turn off the bounding boxes and the rules. And this could be a lot of fun, I think. If I didn't have infinite health and there was a bit more repercussions to, getting hit rather than just like instant death, which is what it currently is. Your health goes down immediately because there's no delay between hits, like pow 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 pow. Then this could be a lot of fun in the actual game. If you look, there's like hundreds of zombies here. You can see the Z count up there. A lot of them are overlapping just now, which makes the count appear lower than it is. But I can assure you that is the count of the amount of zombies that are on screen. If you're looking down at my FPS, my frame rate here, I'm not sure how this is showing up. I'll need to see when it's on YouTube, by which time it'll be too late to actually talk about it anymore. I'm still getting pretty fluid gameplay, although it is dropping. It's dropping off fast, and it will start getting really jumpy and a bit laggy in that soon. I think I counted about 1,000 before any real problems start to occur. I'm twirling around in circles here because it's normally pretty smooth, but it's getting jumpy as well just now. But it's not broken, it's not unplayable. You wouldn't want this amount on screen for too long before people would just get sick of it and fed up of it. But I'm moving smooth enough, I can twirl, I can still shoot zombies. So yeah, it's still doable. It's a feasible amount of zombies in game, which should be good fun. Okay, I'm going to exit out of that, and I think I've covered just about everything I wanted to say. So there we have like a 20-minute video for about 2 minutes of actual game footage, which I do apologise for. But this video is just more about getting across the ideas I have, what I want to do. What I am going to do soon though is make another video which just has a brief discussion about a game I just discovered yesterday whilst looking up more information on zombie games. And this is one that actually already encompasses a lot of the stuff I was thinking of doing. But don't worry, I'm not mad. I really hope this game takes off. It looks really good. It's an isometric game as opposed to a top-down shooter, and that's Project Zomboid. You can check it out at projectzomboid.com, and I think you can even buy it just now. It's taken a sort of Minecraft-styled release where you pay so much money and you get the beta version, and it's updated regularly. I'm not sure how they're doing the actual final selling, whether you have to pay it or you get it free for supporting in the beta. But I want to check out that a lot more. I really haven't had a look at it. I just had a quick scan over and saw that a lot of the stuff I was thinking is already in there. So that should be pretty awesome. So check that out as well. Okay, thanks for all your time. Thanks for watching this mammoth video. I hope it's been enlightening. I hope you've got a good idea of what it is I'm looking to do. And if you do have any feedback or any tips or anything, then I'd love to hear them. So just message me in the comments. And that's it. I'll have a new video out soon. Maybe, depending how development goes. I'm not going to release another video if there's nothing else to show, but things are going pretty well so far, so it should be soon. I'll have another look over Project Zomboid as well, and I'll probably mention that in my next video. Alright, thanks guys, bye.